Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Follow Your Passion. Let me introduce today my guest. She's a dear friend and very wise entrepreneur, I would say. Her name is Ramona Tufaru. Ramona is the founder of the LinkedIn Lead Machine. She has over 11 years of managerial experience in the corporate world and a thorough background in sales, marketing, and business advice. After being successful executive in marketing and sales in the Italian and international corporate world, where she worked with brands like Benetton, Google, Continental, and many more, she discovered that the real distinction in building successful businesses resides in the landscape of marketing and sales, and that the biggest innovation really is in marketing and the changing dynamics between marketing and sales. Her gift is in the triggered pain of not being seen, loved, and wanted. So, in her work, she sets a stage for her clients to be seen, loved, wanted by potential customers. And the first stage she sets for them is LinkedIn. She has worked with coaches, consultants, small business owners, sales teams, and she recently actually combined all her knowledge and wisdom in a new book. And it's a working book, so you should use it. So, welcome, Ramona. Thank you for being my guest
Thank,
today. So,
thank you for inviting me and thank you for the nice introduction.
yeah, you're welcome, Ramona. So, tell me about you work in the corporate world in marketing and sales. You worked with very big brands. What decided you to become an entrepreneur?
Oh, that's a very nice question. I think that the shift happened first in my mind, and it really started at the moment where I couldn't grow farther. Like I reached the maximum growth inside this environment, both personally and professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And in certain business environments and in these corporates, you can't expand further, right? Because you sometimes you can't change role or you can't go higher,
Yeah.
and expand your career. So I think that I started to think of a change when I realized I can't grow further, but also when I realized that I have enough knowledge and that I can use that knowledge in a slightly different way. Yeah, instead of promoting just one company, I could use that knowledge first to promote myself and then to promote others in my circles, in my peer groups, and then it kind of started from there. It was a self-awareness moment.
Nice, nice. And Um, of course, what you say, a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with the fact that you always say you need to be seen, known, and liked before people want to do business with you. And that's a big struggle for a lot of entrepreneurs, to be seen, to be visible, to be liked, and to be trusted so that people want to do business with you. Has it been a struggle for yourself as well, or did you already have head start because of your corporate experience?
It's been a struggle for myself, and I think it's been a struggle for many years. If I can remember right, when I started to go a lot online and especially on LinkedIn, um, and I started to see the effect of it and the return of having more visibility. I think it was 2014, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been on LinkedIn or on Facebook and other social platforms since the very beginning. I grew up with them. I think it's difficult to embrace the hybrid model. Uh, even if I'm still young, I grew up with these entrepreneurs, business owners doing business face to face, and so being visible, it just meant going to networking events or meeting other business owners in more informal situations and talking about the business or expressing the desire to expand in certain verticals or in certain markets and geographical areas. And it didn't meant to go on social media. Social media was more for entertainment. when I started to work, and when I started to interact with entrepreneurs and business owners. So I think it was 2014, 2015 when I started to see the effects of being more visible on social media platforms. And for sure, I didn't know immediately how to capitalize on that visibility. But by, testing and testing and testing, at one point, I became more aware that if you do a step after another, and if you are conscious about the goal that you have on those platforms, you can really drive more sales. Yeah, because that's the equation. You actually become more aware of the power of these platforms, you become more structured, and then you can achieve your goals.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that you just said that you tested and tested a lot, because I know by experience that you have been in LinkedIn prison, haven't you?
I've been, oh my goodness, yes. Oh, that's so funny that you are actually sharing that. Yes, because I'm big on testing. Everything that I transfer to my clients, or inside my engagement circle, or to my peer group, everything is tested. I, I learn a lot from other experts, or from LinkedIn itself, or from other content that's being written, or releases in the press, in the news. And so I learn, and after that I go immediately to test. So in the case of mentioned by you, like, I was testing a very aggressive approach, not based on automation, because usually you end up in jail when you test too much automation, or you don't respect the rules of imposed by LinkedIn. But I was just testing a more aggressive approach, auditing people or companies without being requested, like just showing up, and auditing, and I guess someone just didn't like my aggressive outreach formula. And I'm glad I ended up in jail, because I had an event planned with some other experts. It was so painful to be in that jail, that I actually realized that the outreach, the way you interact with people on LinkedIn, it must be humanized, must be really authentic, really slow sometimes, based on meaningful connections, meaningful conversations. So it was really nice in the end. But I think I spent something like five days in jail, and I had to go through a very complex process to prove that it's me, to prove that I didn't want to harm, the LinkedIn network. And it was a little lesson that I actually learned, and I put into my book, because in chapter 7 of the book, actually, I explain a formula that came out from LinkedIn jail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So talking about the book, indeed, Ramona. I know you're very big on LinkedIn and LinkedIn lead creation. Um, so what decided you to write the book? Because I know you're a very perfectionist. You know, you want everything to have perfect. You test everything, like we just discussed. And is the book? Would you say that the book is will stay actual? Because a lot of changes, of course. So what decided you to write the it's actually a workbook, right? It's not really a book to of course to read, but also to act upon it and to use the content that's in it. So what decided you to write the book?
Indeed, it's as you said, it's a workbook. And even if it has a parts of a normal book, like there's a story and a flow, but I really believe that you have to implement. Otherwise, it's just knowledge. Yeah, and it's by implementation that to actually achieve results. So it started to become an idea when I delivered a lot of free webinars to teach my customers, and non-customers how to make themselves visible on LinkedIn and create leads and sales. And I created the content for the webinars, and the formula was PowerPoint slides, and then the speech, and then the templates for the implementation. And I used to print all this in order to prepare for the webinar, and to have, in case my prompt doesn't work, in case I have a facilitator so they know the script. And you know so one day I just collected all these things together because I was moving from one house to another, and I had, like, my papers. And so I put them all together, and I remember I took like a rope to keep it together, and it
Hmm.
just it just became physical. And it just said, oh my God, there's so much in here. And I had the PowerPoints with the visual aspect, the speech, and then the template. So it just made sense for me to put it all together. Now, you asked me if it will remain relevant, if it will
Hmm.
remain actual. Yes, it will. Like, it's true that the algorithm changes a lot, and the platform itself is evolving, and more features will be introduced. And there are some changes happening right now, and for sure will happen. Still, there are certain components that must be combined. I call them gears. 8 gears that needs to be combined together in a system in order to make this machine work for you. And it's not really just LinkedIn now, because it's related to the LinkedIn platform, but there are some aspects that are more related to the business. Yeah, so those elements, like your metrics, your network, your lead avatar, your online presence, like your brand, those are those will always remain. Like, it doesn't matter if the algorithm changes or the features of LinkedIn will change or be added or not. So I try to create a book that will be relevant in the years to come. Yeah. And even the parts that are will change a little bit because of the requirement of LinkedIn could be interpreted then. Like, for example, now we have 3,000 characters per post, and it's good to use them all if you post from your personal profile. Maybe one day will be 5,000, but it doesn't change that it's a good idea to use them all.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just,
exactly.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Perfect, perfect. And I love thinking in metaphors and stuff like that, and I think it's the same if you look at cars. You know that all cars will have updates, new lights, stuff like that, but they still got an engine in it, whether it be a fossil fueled or maybe it's an electrical one. They still need to drive the wheels. There's a steering wheel in it, so the basics stay the same, the principles stay the same. It's just that some minor details will evolve indeed, just as you mentioned. Yeah. So yeah, nice.
Indeed.
Yeah. So
Indeed. Yes.
I know as an entrepreneur myself, that um I tried. I won't say all social media because TikTok is not for me. But I've been on. I'm still a bit on Instagram. I'm still on Facebook. Uh, but my main platform is LinkedIn as well because that's where my potential clients are. That's where my existing clients are. So that's the one that I focus the most on. And the other platforms, I'm just there to be visible, but not. I'm not putting any energy on that, so to speak. So, from a business perspective, would you say that makes sense? Are you applying the same, or are you also on several social media?
I think that your presence on social media, it really depends on your target audience, because you are building visibility for brand awareness, and you are investing a lot of effort with a certain strategy because you want to drive revenue, right? So you absolutely need to analyze your target audience, know them very well, and know where are they hanging out. So if they hang out on LinkedIn, you have to be there. And I would assume that if you address your message to a 65 years old CEO, this guy will not really be on Instagram and TikTok, right? So it makes sense that in your case and in my case, for example, for specific services, we are on LinkedIn because our target audience is there. And the effort should be calculated based on the return of the investment in this platform, right? So if you invest 2 hours per day and at the end of the month or the quarter you reach your goals, your quota, let's say, then it's worth remaining on the platform. It's worth continuing investing in this platform. Otherwise, if you don't reach your targets, then you have to look around and say, okay, it's either my strategy is wrong or my customers are not here, or you see. So a thorough analysis before any kind of effort on those social media platforms is necessary. It's like
Yeah.
vital,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. So, talking about that, just like myself, you had a corporate career before you became an entrepreneur. And I remember when I became an entrepreneur, I followed hypnotherapy training, which motivated
Hmm.
me to start my own business. But you're getting the
Yeah.
tools and tips and skills to help everybody, right? But if you want to help everybody, you're not helping anybody because you're not giving them a reason to come to you. So, how did you create your own target audience or your own niche?
Yeah. So I started 11 years ago, and in the beginning of my career, I was still studying techniques and strategies. And so I was willing to test on everybody. Like no matter if it was like my friend, my neighbor, or a coach, a consultant, a company, a sales team. So I was just testing a lot and really learning about the groups where that will be impacted by my work, because you don't resonate with everybody. Like you
Hmm.
you you have a match with your target audience, and if you don't give yourself, if you don't put yourself out there enough, you will not be able to really understand who's the ideal client for you. And sometimes we think it's just they teach us that it's just budget, it's just geography, it's just age or gender. It's not. In our case, we sell services, and we are like co-pilots for our clients. We have to support them, to transfer our knowledge to them, and sometimes to execute with them. So we need to match also in values. We need to match also in the sometimes even in the pace of our work. I'm fast. I
Yeah,
really like to work very fast in order to create results very, very fast.
yeah,
So if I have someone that is procrastinating a lot, I will not be able to create results. So I think going back to your question, I just put myself out there, sometimes at a very low price, just to create a lot of experience and create results. And I became very aware of when I create results and how, and when I don't, when I struggle and why I struggle. And I just chose at one point I'm not going to work with a target audience. Maybe they pay well, but I am not at my best. So I just go with the groups that I really, really resonate and it's coaches, consultants, emerging professionals, and sales teams. And inside these groups, I am very picky because I want to create results. I want to create an impact. I'm not gonna convince someone that is not on the same mindset as me.
yeah,
We
yeah,
can
yeah.
shift some aspects, but I can't really make it happen for you. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that what I said in the introduction as well, that there are great entrepreneurs out there, but their main challenge is they are becoming the best kept secret of the internet. And that's a pity.
Indeed.
They need to be seen, they need to be heard, they need to be, of course, liked before people want to do business with them. But
Yeah.
so could you share, is a particular client that comes to mind? You don't need to name, use names, of course, but that you think that, you know, this person was like my ideal client, or such a big success story. I didn't expect it ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, I have many cases and in different groups, niches, let's say. But where I really excel, because of the feelings I have when I work, because of the results I can create, is I have these amazing professionals. Imagine someone in their 50s, 45, 50s, having a 20 plus years career as a background and transitioning to being a solopreneur and or a small business owner and having to do certain things very uncomfortable, like creating content talking about themselves or prizing themselves, like testimonials, or even generating leads and learning all these tactics and strategies for the online world, the digital tactics and strategies is really challenging. So the the success cases for me really are like usually managers, top executives in the corporate world transitioning to being a high level consultant, incredible in their work, like they really know their stuff, they really are able to create shifts and amazing results, and they just need the hacking for the online, the positioning, the leadership voice out there. And so, oh, I have goosebumps because that's where I really love my work. Yes, because I give them voice. I give them um, a, a, um, an image online. I give them a window from where to shine with their knowledge. I give them a stage to actually impact further. Yeah, I can tell you about, you know, many of my clients, and I know for sure they will be happy for me to mention them. But actually, it's the way we work. So when they transition from the corporate world, as we did, to being a solopreneur, entrepreneur, business owner, you know, it's scary because you have to create your own income, you have to create your own roles inside the company and be the assistant, be the sales guy, be the marketeer, be the ones that is pushing you that day when you struggle, you know, to do your work. So uh, it's really when they come to me and they say, this is what I used to earn, and I want either that or a little bit more, and then I build up a strategy for them and I know they execute. So it's, I think that it's the fact that they come from that huge background, that they worked under stress, that they worked on a project, that they mastered a certain career previously, allows them to perform so well with a little bit of guidance.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
And I think that you didn't mention it explicitly, but one of the biggest challenges of those high level executives is also that when they still work in the corporate world, you know, they had this role to fulfill and they were excelling in fulfilling that role. But when you want to become like a high paid consultant, um, it feels like you have to sell yourself, and they've never done that before, and
indeed.
that's an obstacle for them.
Yeah. And you know, because you are into the mindset shift, right? Most of the time, and you can understand this. It's really like a shift on mindset that we work on. Because it's exactly how you described it. It's like you've never sold yourself. And so because of that fear that kicks in, you forgot about your 25 plus years of experience delivering of relevant projects on important uh, work that you've done for the companies you've worked with. So I think the majority of my work is really to make them believe in themselves and give them tools necessary to embrace this hybrid business model and this social selling aspects, right? Is it,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you encapsulated the biggest fear of all my clients. Oh, I need to sell myself. I need to make myself visible and price myself online. Oh, I've
Yeah.
never done that. Well, you know, you can start now.
Exactly. The first for everything.
Indeed.
Nice. Nice. Um, what I also love about you, Ramona, is that, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't believe in competition. You're all about cooperation, and finding joint ventures and stuff like. And I think that's also one of the drivers that drives your success as well. There's no competition. There's just cooperation.
Indeed. Um, it didn't really start from the beginning. I mean, in the beginning, I was a student more than a facilitator of this joint ventures group, and I joined it peer groups just because I wanted to learn more. I don't come from a family of business owners. I come from a very simple family working as employees of their life, and I had to learn a lot about entrepreneurship in order to make a living for myself. So in the beginning, I started to join these groups just as a student, but then I saw the return of being part of these groups because I started to receive recommendation. I started to be mentioned in certain business environments. I started to be invited, and I started to create friends. And then I started to realize that I can cover only certain roles inside my company. And at one point, if I want to grow, I absolutely need people around me. I need people to cover other roles. I need people to do activities necessary for the business to grow, like referrals and introductions. That's really, really important for us as consultants and offering services. So yeah, I believe in an equal win-win collaboration, even if we work on the same field or we provide the same service, like even the like equal, we are unique, and if we are conscious about what's our uniqueness, we then can establish a collaborative interaction with the same professional that offers the same service in our same field, because I have a unique aspect of my work that I can combine with your unique aspect. And can you imagine two professionals offering the same service combining networks? That's really powerful. And
Exactly.
I think that yeah, I think that you mentioned that because of the community that you see sometimes on LinkedIn. And it all started because I remember I created this phrase with one of the ladies in the group, Granny Delany, and I said, can you imagine having at your fingertips 50 professionals? You can tap into their networks, you can tap into their knowledge, you can ask them for introductions, and you can ask them to solve issues. Like, you will be surrounded by a boost engine, right? So it all started from there. And yes, I do believe that business today is based on collaboration
Nice.
more than competition.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also what a lot of coaches and mentors out there say
Mm.
as well, that if you want to grow, you should surround yourself with people that will elevate you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty also of for instance, for the inner circle as well, that you help each other, you can ask questions, and you get honest and constructive feedback. And that's the beauty of
Indeed.
it.
Indeed, indeed. And also, you know, you actually learn from all your peers on on things that you will never be able to learn by yourself, because it's one thing to read something, and it's different when you read, you ask a question, you receive immediate feedback. So it's like moving from just learning to learning and implementing, or learning and receiving immediate feedback on the implementation. So I think that that is where the real power of this group is, the feedback. And yeah.
Yeah, nice. So you got a lot of great initiatives, Ramona, like the engagement circle, your LinkedIn lead machine, the webinars you already gave for free. So
Mhm.
what's next? Are you going to start your own podcast as well, or?
Oh gosh, no. So, not the podcast. And I tried several times to implement a few more strategies, like the podcast, the YouTube channel. But I have to say that I struggle a little bit with consistency, and I don't want to push too much in an area that is forcing me to do something that I would dislike. Um, what I think I would love to implement further is really the flagship program of the LinkedIn Lead Machine. And it makes sense because, as I said, the book is a workbook and is the foundation of this implementation of the system for a link delete machine. And this can be easily turned into a seminar. So I think that's the very next step.
That's the
For
next
now,
step.
I'm really
Nice.
happy. Indeed, indeed. Yeah. And, and face to face, because I think that face to face, as I am, I have a different energy, a different way to manage my audience and to make them interact with one another. So the face to face flagship program, the link delete machine, I think I said it, I put it out there into the universe. So
Exactly.
it's almost done.
Yeah. Now it's not a matter of if, it's now just a matter of when, right?
Exactly. I'll be happy to share with you the when and with your audience. Well, you can invite me to another podcast then.
Perfect. Let's keep that in mind, Ramona. Would love that.
Perfect. Perfect.
So, um, I know at the beginning we also talked about the workbook. It's currently in PDF form, and you're not planning to have a hardcover yet. And I love the reason why. Would you share it with the audience as well? Because it's also it positions you as who you are as a person, and why
Yeah,
people should
I
work
think
with you.
so. Well, thank you for allowing me to share the reason why I decided to launch the book first as a PDF format, and then as a hardcover paperback. So when I decided the launch date of the book, I also needed to get clear on the strategy and uh, what is this book about? How do I want to use it to grow my business, right? So the book is about a system that I teach in various formats in my business. And the purpose of the book is to grow my audience. And as I believe in collaborations, I wanted to include that aspect of how I do business also for the book, right? So I launched the book as a PDF because I want enough people to buy it at an accessible price and to use it for real, to learn this methodology system, to implement it, to really use the templates for work. Each chapter has one, two, three templates to really implement everything that I teach, everything that I describe. So after you use the book and you put in the work and you acquire this methodology, I want you to provide me with the feedback. I will contact you and I will ask you for feedback. And this feedback will be included, will be implemented either to upgrade the book itself. So maybe you have a feedback on a template that doesn't work very well. So I need to change a few things, right? And the second aspect, I really wanted to have like a little community around the book that can be mentioned in the book for the feedback. So again, the book is a leverage to grow all together. This, and here's the why. LinkedIn is a team game. It's not a solo game. I will never be able to make this book a success if I would not have community with me. I would have never this book if I would have never had an audience to listen to my webinars. So I really wanted to implement the same concept with the book. So it's a PDF format. It's at a very low price right now. I would keep it this way until I reach a certain level of sales. I will include your feedback in the written paperback hardcover of the book if you are willing to provide me with feedback. And let's grow together. You
Exactly.
make myself visible, I make yourself visible.
And that just shows who you are as a person, Ramona, because you didn't write a book to become famous as a writer or to
Mm.
use it to look at me, I'm a writer of a book. No, you've wrote the book to truly help people and to get the feedback from the readers on maybe some little improvements or little things they what maybe is obvious for you but not for them, so there might be something that they don't understand that you took
Mhm.
for granted, and will give you feedback as well, because you want to optimize the book so that as many people can use it. So I
Yep.
think that and that shows who we are as a business, as a person, not only for the book, but also it's what one of my coaches said. You know, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So this is a great
Mm.
example of how you looked at the book and what you said. It's a team effort. It's not a solo game,
Indeed.
and you're showing that by launching your book this way. You know, and I know
Yes.
that if the hardcover is there, everything has been fine tuned. I will set all my money on that. Everything will be fine tuned. Every feedback has been um, adapted in the book, and it will be a great value. So yeah,
Indeed. And something that I want to mention is that in the PDF version of the book, the one available now, I included a 2.5 hour session with me, inspiration session, for you to understand more about B2B prospecting and lead generation with LinkedIn tactics, or how to optimize your profile, your visibility on LinkedIn. It's like we can run an audit during this session. So the session is there because you can use it for yourself, or you can gift someone with this session, and leverage again this access to knowledge. And this session was added to the book again because I want to be in contact with my target audience as much as I can, in order to make a book a value based book for my audience. If I have to use it to drive business, it has to be a masterpiece, and that's my strategy.
perfect, perfect. I love
Mhm.
every part of it, Ramona. So I'm afraid we could talk for hours on those subjects and sharing knowledge with each other. If there would be one little piece of advice or experience or tips that you would like to share with the audience, you know, either about following your passion because you're very passionate about what you do, and it's not just because you're Italian, but you're just very passionate about your job, um, or about entrepreneurship, what tip would that be, Ramona?
Um, so I want to use one that is really personal. I think that wisdom comes from awareness. You really want to be conscious about who you are, who you want to be uh, as an entrepreneur. What is your legacy? What do you really want to leave after you go? You know?
Yeah,
And based on that, you just have to make baby steps. Even when you're scared, you just have to pursue that idea, that legacy. It is so vital because this journey is so difficult, so lonely at times, so challenging, that you really have to have a big drive. And I think that this drive comes from being very conscious of what you want to leave when you go. when you're
Perfect.
dead, right?
Yeah. It's a great advice, except for the dying part, of course, but for the rest, it's great. So, Ramona, if people want to know more about you, get in touch with you, or they're very inspired to buy the book, um, where can they go to? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so if they want to see me every single day or the content I post, the perfect place is LinkedIn, and it's LinkedIn slash Ramona Tufaru, of course. And then if they want to buy the book, they can go on our store, and our website is www.linkedinleadmachine.store/book. Is it clear
Perfect.
enough? So
Yeah,
it's www.linkedinleadmachine.store/book. So they can buy the book there, or they can also contact me, I can send them the
perfect.
link.
Yeah, yeah. Ramona, I wish you all the best. I hope that your book will help a lot of entrepreneurs as well. I know there's great content in it. So if people don't buy it, then they're missing the opportunity of a lifetime, I would almost say. Thank you for being my guest and being so open. I would love to get in touch with you once you got your live seminar um, available. And yeah, let's stay in touch.